Listen, if this is the first video you're watching on my channel, I would recommend you go watch the last one that I posted. And if you're planning on watching this video for 5 minutes, or you're planning on playing it in the background, I suggest coming back to it later, because this is not the type of video you want to watch for 5 minutes. Alright? If you don't spare the time to hear this message to the end, if you don't make the effort to understand it and finally wake up, then you are participating in the great deception as much as they are. The most effective suppression is when the victim tells the truth and the truth sounds insane. Okay, the internet is not a shadow of humanity, it is a labyrinth. Okay, on the surface, digital, bread and circuses, endless scrolling, viral clips, entertainment. But below that, philosophical manuscripts, hidden histories, and declassified documents, forgotten media too. Obscure authors, academic archives, historical footage. But the surface is viral clips, endless scrolling, it's digital bread and circus. The labyrinth exists in plain sight. Anyone can log on and wander its corridors, but only a few possess the philosophical spark to go deep enough. Okay, once patterns between mythology, history, geopolitics, and media become visible, they cannot be unseen. The labyrinth exists in plain sight. So I'm gonna lay out some information that you're gonna need to understand. For this video, I'm gonna give you one of two options. You can listen to my summary of the videos and the ideas, or you can go watch them for yourselves. If you're only gonna watch one, this is the one you should watch, right? Anyways, you can't get into the concept of, hey, this is right and that is wrong, because there is no in-between, but that's not true. There are all kinds of in-betweens all the time. Truth is elusive, folks. The moment you think you know it all, you have lost yourself again. The moment you say, I'm gonna listen to him, and anybody that says differently than him is wrong, you just totally destroyed yourself. Any opposing viewpoint, anything that opposes the status quo, if you won't listen to it, you're already brainwashed. You have closed your mind. You are at the mercy of whatever manipulation they want to throw your way, because you have already determined that they are telling you the truth no matter what. You don't investigate, you have accepted blindly. That's the most dangerous thing that can happen to anyone. They are building what they call the perfect race, but because the knowledge, the truth, has been withheld from the people, and that's how they manipulate people, by withholding the truth and controlling them with the lies. There are a lot of people who are extremely critical of my radio broadcast because they say I spend too much time on symbology and history and the mystery religions and all these things, and they write me letters and say, I don't care about this doesn't mean anything, why don't you get into some nitty-gritty? They don't understand that is the nitty-gritty. He who does not study and understand history is doomed to repeat it. And the same play has been being performed throughout the history of the world by what we call the builders, the controllers, the puppet masters. The reason I'm telling you this is if you find what I'm talking about disturbing, it's hitting you with some truth that is bothering you, that's really bothering you. You need to look at it very closely, because it wouldn't be bothering you if it wasn't true. Okay, only the person that the arrow hits gets angry. If he could uncover this kind of information decades ago, what could you find today? He wrote it in a book called 1984 and spelled out exactly what's coming as a warning to the people of the world as a work of fiction. But you notice that work of fiction really stirred people up because they knew it wasn't fiction in their heart of hearts. Everyone who has read that book knows it's coming. Here's what Orwell understood about control. Control doesn't happen overnight. First you distract, then you divide, then you rewrite the rules so people don't even know they are being controlled. 1984 showed us the final destination. Right. All the highest level of all countries, they all belong to the same club. Right, rest in peace, Bill Cooper. Right, just gotta lay out the basic understanding. And the next thing we're gonna talk about is how this movie is gonna use frame control, but there's also 3 core ego threats, right? The identity, which is who I believe I am and how I need to be seen. Control, which is my ability to direct what happens next. And safety, my sense of security, status, or my place in the tribe might be being threatened. Okay, this triangle explains narcissists, entitled people, power games, and manipulation. Okay, when the identity is threatened, they need to be right or innocent, smart or the cute one, or the victim. When it's control, they talk over other people or say that you're not listening. Safety threat is subtle distancing, or maybe they start getting weird in the conversation. And this is all 3 of them, okay? I don't know who I am, I can't control this, and I don't feel socially safe. This is what telling the truth does to someone, okay? It breaks their ego triangle. It makes them freak out. Okay, that's why I'm telling you this, because if you don't recognize what shift took place, diagnose, target the exact threat, watch for that stacking up, and use the triangle to avoid triggering for yourself. If you don't recognize your own ego, your ego programming is going to blind you from the truth, okay? So every time you say, this is a coincidence, or this or that, it's your ego talking, right? It's all your ego. So if you ever feel uncomfortable, seriously, just pause and go take a break, right? Go take some deep core breaths. But anyways, this is the frame. I'm gonna explain how the movie uses frame control, right? But the frame is what is happening and who's in charge of the meaning of a situation. It's what's being assumed, not entirely what's being said. Whoever controls the frame will always control the context. You're going to find yourself reacting in that other person's version of reality. Okay, so this just explains, like, the truth is set up to make people Karens, okay? It's set up to trigger the ego, okay? And the movie uses frame control, so you're gonna have to keep track of your own ego. So, I would just recommend watching this video for yourself. It's probably the best thing to do. Okay. Now, we're gonna talk about Project Monarch, right? Targets children, programmed alter identities. Monarch butterfly equals fractured psyche. Handler asset system. Dissociative identity creation. This is what the algorithm does. Trauma-based mind control. This is also what the algorithm does. Also what the algorithm does. It fractures your psyche. Okay. 9 years ago, 300 million views. 13 years ago. That's not right. Checkerboard floors. Right? This is the identity cracking. This is the self-breaking, the fractured psyche. More butterfly. More butterfly. 151 million views 11 years ago. Black and white checkerboard floor. Black and white sex doll programming. 346 million views 16 years ago. 19 million views 16 years ago. Black and white Alice in Wonderland, all-seeing eye. 19 million views 16 years ago. Checkerboard floor. I can't even believe that something like this has 48 million views, but 14 years ago. Checkerboard floor and whatever you want to call this. 10 million views 6 years ago. How did people watch this? Like, what the heck? It's all Masonic. George Washington was a Freemason, Masonic. I think this kind of speaks for itself. It's just the idea that anyone who uses the blue butterfly as a symbol, who like reaches for it as their first symbol, has had monarch mind control programming done to them. It's like the basic idea. More butterfly, more butterfly. This is sex kitten programming. Alright, turning women from women to sex kittens. It's, self-explanatory. Right? To every American unaware of the mind control atrocities prevailing in this country, what Americans don't know is destroying them from the inside out. Alright? Like, seriously, it is. Right, and then we have, I'm not going to read over all of this, but we have different types of mind control. Alpha, beta, delta, theta, omega, gamma. Right? Sexual kitten programming. Elite soldiers as covert operatives. I think this definitely exists, and I definitely see this in boomers, right? The fail-safe. The second you start talking about anything that's like conspiracy, they have like a fail-safe in their brains. But here's just some more examples of programming. Like, we all know these type of people. This is like complete fracture of identity, given in to materialism entirely. Zero thoughts for themselves, Right, then we have predictive programming. I should have pulled some more real-life examples, but this took forever, okay? Millennial, monarch mind control. Don't touch that dial. Right. You can go look at all of these. I'm not going to read all of them if you want to. Fluoride in the water. I've been trying to learn how to get fluoride out of the water. I can do it. Right, this is the person who made the game. Okay. Guns, money, violence, media. Control people. anytime, any place, our snipers can drop you. Have a nice day. Ends the speech with enough is enough. Ends the speech with enough is enough. Also, you can just tell when a video is feels like it's simulated by AI, because pretty sure AI is just demon consciousness simulated into real life. So every time you look at something AI, it's actually just made by a demon. Charismatic leader. Right, terrorist nuke. I mean, this one for me was hard to believe, but dude, if they really could put a face in the smoke, what the heck? Right, but obviously, I mean, this is just so in your face. Right? You got the cheeks, the jack, the ace, the jack, the ace, the red and black, the Masonic looking thing. Right? March on Washington. This is how boomers talk. Okay, if they could write this on a sign and not be judged, they would. Okay? No! Nope! Really, really unhappy. This is how they talk. I'm serious. At least USA boomers. This should speak for itself. This isn't a freedom of speech issue. This is a decency issue. We're closing you down. This is so correct. It's insane. Good thoughts are now required. Used insensitive pronouns. I've literally seen this happen. I've seen this switch happen in my friends. I'm not kidding. Where all of a sudden, good thoughts are now required. And I think it was 2020. Right, where all this stuff just all of a sudden became relevant, right? Criminal overlords. I think this is just we all know about it, right? The Epstein files have been released, right? They don't hide it. Media blitz. All media is controlled. All big media. Every media you see in your face is going to be controlled. I could not find a picture of this on Google. I had to go to eBay. I don't know if this is actually happening. I don't keep up with what the news says. But considering the fact I couldn't find this on Google, Googling the name on Google Images, and I had to go to eBay, I feel like it was the algorithm was hiding it, you know? The moon landing was fake. People laugh, but the flat earthers know something. Go to the channel Flat Out Truth Terry R Eicher. Something like that. But I think if you just type in Flat Out Truth, you'll find it. Seriously, instead of just laughing at what you've been programmed to laugh at, go look at the evidence for yourself. Right, I'm not going to tell you what to believe. Okay, this right here, this is the Brotherhood of Death. Came from a college called Yale. This college called Yale has been pretty much just building secret societies, right? Jang, what is this guy's name? Oh, that's embarrassing. Whatever. I think it's Jang. We're just gonna call him Jang. Jang reemerges as an algorithmically boosted mass media oracle after, having connections to Yale, right? If a con artist doesn't release the pressure every so often, the pipe will blow and the con will end. So it is in the con artist's interest to reveal some truth via controlled opposition, but in a way that doesn't expose the entire con. That's what his videos are. Okay, they tell you what you could guess. You know what I mean? They could tell you what you know, public awareness of systemic failure and hidden power structures building up inside a sealed vessel. The valve, an inserted mechanism that opens to release the pressure safely. It's what Zhang is, right? It's what he is, okay? The basic purpose of subversion is to screw up the perception of reality of your enemy to such an extent that he does not perceive you as enemy, and your system, your civilization, and your ambitions appear to him as an alternative. You cannot subvert an enemy who does not want to be subverted. Right? This is how boomers think about Satanism, right? Because they don't think, they go, oh, well, Jesus isn't real. So they don't have any, like, moral obligation. They don't really see, they see what's, they won't say, they'll see what's wrong with Satanism, but they really don't, right? They really don't care. And deep down, if they were offered the right things, they would do it too, because they just believe it's all going to end, right? But that's subversion. People have been subverted. This was never a meme. Never was. Okay. This dude does animal sacrifice. There's pictures of him with beheaded animals, right? This is what the meme means, right? This is what it means. It doesn't have to be these things, but extreme evil in private, and then extreme good in public, right? The Santo Narisha, right? The persona, and then what the person does in dark, right? A sigil is a magically charged intention you send out to impose your will upon the universe, okay? A complicated thought boiled down and encoded in some form for empowerment and release. Blasphemy. He has a back tattoo associated with love, motherhood, and fierce protection, particularly of women and children. This is the public face, private face. Okay? Skrilla, the person who created this meme, is a Santo. Okay? The best psyops bypass your conscious mind and embed directly into your subconscious mind. Right? So the subconscious mind is all of this, okay? You shouldn't let external sources control this, okay? Because then that controls you, alright? If they can control all of these, then they can control you, okay? Your conscious mind can run free, but as long as your subconscious mind is brainwashed enough, you'll keep yourself stuck, right? Okay. Keep up. Shango represents thunder, lightning. Shango, associated with 6. He is also a man. It says he somewhere. His, right? Yamaya represents 7. She represents the tides, okay? So we have the lightning, the tides, okay? The female, the male. It's satanic alchemy. It's what it is. It's what the statement you're saying is. It's satanic alchemy, right? I just told you okay? Because the 6 strikes like lightning and the 7 flows into your subconscious, right? The female and the male, okay? Alchemy, that's what this is. It's satanic alchemy, okay? Shout out to Hidden America. But the doot doot is representative of the doot doot from Baby Shark. Okay, such an absurd idea is meant to put your guard down, okay? This is the thunder, and then this is the tide that follows in once your mind has been hit with it, right? So you see the 6, right? But the 7 just flows into your mind, okay? You see people saying the statement, if you watch what it does to them, it's what it does to them, okay? The 6, and then the 7 flows into their mind, okay? Satan ring, the I love Satan ring, right? Now I'm not going to read this, but you can go ahead and read this for yourself. But energy must be paid for with energy. Transformation but must be bought with effort. Nothing evolves without something devolving. Okay. This is another example. Okay, I'm not going to read this. Right. An attempt to harness the power of divine completion through human and fallen spiritual agency, right? So we have completely fallen for the illusion, okay? And the 7 goes into your mind to harness your power of divine completion, right? The Creator's offering, Skrilla's offering, is his time, creativity, and reputational risk in launching such a bizarre concept. This is his initial investment to open the energetic circuit. The audience's offering. The audience pays with their time, mental bandwidth, and emotional energy by engaging. They fuel the sigil's power, but also potentially expose themselves to the Orisha's influence without the traditional protections. Error 404. Okay. Governments now monitor every move you make online. Mass surveillance is not coming, it's already here. Your data is collected, stored, and sold without consent. Control has shifted from the people to the network. They promised security. What you got was control. Okay, you can read the 4 dystopias. But I'm going to move on. Do not be deceived. God is not mocked. For what a man sows, that he will also reap. Okay, do not be deceived. So as I was recording the Bible verse, my headphones shut off. What a coincidence. Do not be deceived. God is not mocked. For what a man sows, that he will also reap. Galatians 6:7. Do not be deceived. God is not mocked. For what a man sows, that he will also reap. Galatians 6:7. Right? Okay. Now we've got the basic framework down. We can move on to one of the most disturbing psychological operations I've ever seen. Alright, here we go. Intense psychedelic visuals and music to discombobulate you and put your mind into a childlike state, or to put your guard down. Okay? You've got the Saturn imagery, This all happens in like 8 seconds. It's really intense, right? This is a chemtrail cloud. I don't know if this was already here or they literally used chemtrails for this scene. I don't know if this is predictive programming for chemtrails or if this was just already a chemtrail cloud, but yeah, this is a fake cloud, right? The pirates set the frame for the audience, okay? And I'll go into this in a second, but they get the treasure, right? And what is the treasure? What is it? Movie tickets, right? I watch boomers cheer like they are manic. I'm telling you that boomers cheer like the pirates, bro. They have completely let it go, and given the opportunity, they will cheer like this, right? And this is a light example, dude. I feel like this is a light example, alright? But yeah, this is... Keep in mind, this is a children's movie. You just got hit with intense psychedelic visuals, and then the pirates are setting the frame for the hype around going to the movie, right? Then immediately after... Oh, I didn't even realize, but... this flashes twice. And then the third... I guess there's 4. 5. There's 5 SpongeBob references, so... whatever. Brotherhood of Death? Right? This is their mark, and if you think I'm wrong, you will see in the end. Okay? They are getting high off the existence of SpongeBob. They're getting that loosh high off the existence of SpongeBob like people do in real life. Right? This boat does a really, like, hard, reality-defying car screeching brake that is just so, like, it just feels so blasphemous, alright? This right here represents just the craze for consumption, right? And I think this was programming to put this behavior into people, right? This is on screen for about 1 second. This is the bronze serpent. They are mocking the Bible, right? Okay, that's what this is. SpongeBob pulls out bubbles and starts blowing bubbles to relieve stress. Okay, then he slaps Mr. Krabs awake. SpongeBob's whole goal is to add processed cheese and please the crowd, and the crowd cheers him, right? He adds the processed cheese, and the crowd cheers him, right? Because he did what he was supposed to. Now this is when I was doing my analysis, this is when I really went, dang, I'm onto something, right? Of course, we have the 6, and SpongeBob rips off the 6 to say the Krusty Krab 2, they are announcing the new manager. Okay, this will be important later. 2, announcing the new manager. Right? SpongeBob says they will announce a new manager. Oh yeah, dissociation eyes versus thinking eyes. The character, or the animators made a point to have dissociation eyes, right? And thinking eyes, okay? And this will be important later, okay? But they're telling you that this is a private face, public face movie, type of movie, right? Because these actors ate and brutalized children, right? To be a manager, you have to be clean, says SpongeBob. Then he cleans his eyes. This is symbolic of what the actors have done for this position and how they keep quiet, okay? Alright? crowd cheers when Krabs says he built a second Krusty Krab for money, cheering their own exploitation. Right? The mind control plan that makes Gen Z say things like good boy and say violently gay things, right? The annoying Karen, the annoying AI wife. Okay. Artificial intelligence becoming friend. Sorry for the cut. I was dealing with mind control slaves. Yeah, Gen Z is probably the biggest generation to have this happen to them. Right? Plankton is violently orgasmic at the plan of mind control that makes kids do gay things. Right? That's what this is symbolic of, okay? 2 people in the crowd question how they are being scammed, but everyone else moves on. Right? Because Mr. Krabs is scamming. Boomer parents cheer like this. They do. If you've seen it, you've seen it. But I mean, I've seen kids cheer like this about things too, but like, it's like they cheer with every bit of their existence. I've seen boomers do spontaneous and possessed looking dances. Like this, they act crazy. Sometimes I tell USA boomers normal things, and it takes them 5 times to understand and apply what I'm saying. It's like they've lost it. Right, and I think this is symbolic of how Plankton can get access to anything, right? Love and compassion. Mindy is the miracle of truth, God, alchemy, truth, God, archetype, blasphemy. Alright. Double speak and blatant hypocrisy, zero self-reflection, just like my USA boomer parents. You can read this for yourself. The finger of indoctrination. Okay, they target the youth, they play movies in school, they show you people like Bill Nye, the Satanist guy. The blatant hypocrisy is not a joke, it is mind control, ignorance programming. Okay, he says we're not kids, and then makes like, it does the complete opposite, and they ignore it, okay? It's what they're training, to ignore the blatant hypocrisy. SpongeBob couldn't handle the temptation of the numbing agent, right? Will only have one, he says, and he loses himself. He numbs himself so much that he's willing to go down with the mascot. Right? And as soon as SpongeBob wakes up, the next scene that is played is the new manager is spying on people, or the old manager is teaching the new manager how to spy on people for greed. Alright, he's teaching the new manager the ropes, okay? More blatant hypocrisy, zero self-awareness. Says execute the poll. This is symbolic to how boomers will tell you to leave, and that you are the problem when you get close to truth and calling them out. Okay, they execute you, they banish you. Okay, blatant price changes. Alright, self-explanatory. King entitlement, self-explanatory. I blew up the towers, signed Osama bin Laden. It was me, America. I did it. Alright, come get me. I did it because fuck you, I'm attacking you for what you have. I actually don't know the narrative or why they said he did what he did. Didn't look into any of that. Okay, but I'm assuming that's what they said, right? Third party planted evidence and created a division, right? third party is creating the division. Okay, and I think this is symbolic of how boomers, I keep saying boomers because this is what I see in people. I see this in boomers first, right? But people will jump to the opportunity to put you down, you know what I'm saying? If they have the opportunity to put you down and get away with it, they're taking it, but it doesn't happen here. Trauma wakes up SpongeBob. That'll be a recurring theme in this movie. Okay, the truth is revealed, and it's so blinding they can't look away, but they immediately dissociate right after seeing the truth, and it blocks any thought. Okay, this is a consistent theme. Okay, the truth is so blinding that it blocks out all thought, right? So they have to be reminded. Patrick negotiates the number to 6. Neptune says, we have 10 days. Patrick negotiates, right? She's warning SpongeBob of the dangers and telling him to be careful, warning the truthers. Patrick is blinded by lust. Okay? I mean, you can see this archetype happen in real life, play out between people. Like, you can see this type of thing in real life scenarios, right? The cognitive dissonance, right? Immediately learns another truth and then goes straight back into no thought. Okay, and I think this is symbolic of how they're really focused on going down the pole. They're focused on running to the elevator. But once they have a second of downtime, they hop right on the phone instead of thinking. They don't do any thoughts, okay? Because these aren't the thinking eyes, right? Flashes of realism is to keep you looped in and controlled. Because believe me, seeing this thing on the screen makes you so much more engaged in the freaking movie. I'm telling you, if you've watched this movie, this scene right here engages you, alright? That's why the pirates set this frame control so they can use flashes of realism to keep you looped in and controlled. The love for the machine. The third party is mocking the victim, robbing them, and getting away with it. Right? And the truthers have to go on the quest for the truth, right? Dominance highs and mockery highs. This is all symbolic programming of how, you know, people chase these mockery highs and dominance highs. Also trigger words like flat earth or chemtrails or Jesus is king. It triggers something inside of people that if you're aware, you could feel it because you've been programmed, right? And then they'll double down on the ignorance mockery, right? The truthers get robbed and mocked every step of the way, but then of course, you know, SpongeBob has to get that dominance high back, right? And then here we go. Got the Krabby Patties. Look, this is a normal Plankton smile. Okay, in this scene, Plankton is weaving the words of a dead man into his wishes, aka the dead man is Krabs. Even though he's not actually dead, he's weaving his words into Plankton's wishes for Plankton's own purposes, right? And it's for emotional manipulation to sell the Chum Bucket helmet. Okay, I want you to look very closely. This is the only time in the movie Plankton does this generic, ear-to-ear, I'm just a nice guy, smile, selling my product, right? This is the only time he does this smile in the whole movie, right? Okay. This is predictive programming for the smartphone takeover, right? The forbidden fruit. That fucking smile. that fucking smile. Okay, this should prove it to you. I mean, that fucking smile is enough, right? Maybe the product wasn't controlled from the start, you know, still had the forbidden fruit on it, but maybe it wasn't mind control yet, right? It was cool. It was fun. You could show it off, right? Anyways, next scene. So they're discussing how they're gonna stop the truthers from finding the truth. Now, if you had to guess, how are they gonna track down the truthers? With the all-seeing algorithm, of course. The all-seeing AI. It's so in your face, okay? It's so in your face. Right? And then Plankton sends a hitman after SpongeBob, and I want you to pay attention to the letters on his back. 6. Letters on the license plate. 6. Oh, but at least the boot isn't 6, right? It's only 444. It's almost saying, 444 goes here. It's almost like they're mocking Jesus Christ again. Right? In this scene, there is satanic rock and roll and a weird laughing that you hear in satanic music. SpongeBob and Patrick can't resist. They can't, I think this is symbolic of they can't resist the music. Because they can't, right? They can't resist the music. They can't resist it. But then they dogpile the outcast, Not everyone grabbed a screen. But the screens grabbed everyone. Right? The Plankton, Squidward goes to confront Plankton, right? He offers him the chum bucket helmet. Squidward is getting close to the truth, and he's punished for it. So there's that theme again, where they're training you to not pursue truth, right? But yeah, the chum bucket helmets activate and become mind control. And I think that, phones were normal, right? They were fun, they were social. Right, then 2020 hit. We had no other option but to be on the phone and to give in to the newest way of life, right? The newest way to communicate. The short form videos. Okay, so they must have cranked the mind control dial all the way up, or just clicked one button and activated the mind control altogether. But this is symbolic. Okay, this is what happened in real life in 2020. They bioengineered a virus. They made you stay at home so they could lock you into your phones, so they could lock you into the mind control, right? And you trusted them because why wouldn't you, right? It was great. The potential, there was so much potential, right? But it was mind control. It was always mind control. It was always going to be mind control, right? Some people resisted differently, right? But yeah, people move like they have strings attached to them because of the algorithm, right? because they can pretty much set up your identity so that something triggers you to do something, right? They can set up your identity to where when you're shown a certain image, you'll do a certain action. That's what this is, guys. This happens in real life, okay? This is us. We've all had the bucket helmets on, okay? What the fuck, dude? We've all had the bucket helmets on, okay? And we're being mind controlled, like I just explained. They're coding our actions through pictures that we're shown, and we follow them subconsciously, right? Because this is all subconscious, right? But the one who tries to uncover the truth, again, gets dogpiled by the mob, right? Because they're zombies. They are not thinking, right? They're doing what the operator says, right? When you see someone stare at their phone, when someone is staring at their phone and their mood suddenly swings, it's because a string was pulled, okay? I see this happen in real life, okay? It's not just mood swings, okay? TikTok and all these algorithms somehow program your identity to where when you're shown certain pictures, you will do certain things without thinking about it, right? Because that's all in your subconscious mind and not your conscious mind. Yeah, it's... Plankton says, who can stop me now, right? That's what he says. Alright, and immediately after he says that, and we see the world is being dominated, do you want to know what the next scene that plays is? Guess what Patrick is chanting? We're on a baby hunt, and don't think we don't know how to weed them out. Right after we see the mind control plan to unveil, we see Patrick say, we're on a baby hunt, and don't think we don't know how to weed them out. Okay? They're sacrificing children, right? This was what the actors did. Disgusting, deplorable, blasphemous, right? Ignorance leads them to a sugar trap, right? And then if you think this is a stretch, you'll see in the end, right? But this is the 666 logo, right? Right, it can be used like any which way, pretty much, you know. It doesn't matter, right? And it's used to do what? Indicate to whom they owe obedience, right? That's what this is. And then we see this theme of trauma, truth, and then dissociation, right? SpongeBob says, open your eyes, Patrick. You've been wearing the same underpants for 13 years. I think this is just symbolic of the whole lie, right? You've been wearing the lie proudly for your entire life, but it's a lie. It's a lie, and it hurts. It hurts because now you gotta change your underwear, alright? Here comes another miracle, right? Because they're telling miracles through their own interpretation, right? Because this is what Freemasons do. I think this is what Thomas Jefferson did with the Bible. So they tell their own miracles, right? Symbolic of using the screen to reach those who need it. Listen. Okay, that's the sand, right? This is one pedestal, right? 2 pillars, a second pedestal, but this pedestal is checkered, and it has the black box on it, and above it is the eye, right? And why did I point all of this out? I think you can figure out why. Got that sand, dirt. Got the one pedestal, checkerboard on top, box in the middle, 2 pillars, and the eye. Right? Dang, I haven't been full screen. That's fucked up. Anyways, I didn't notice this at first, but I did notice this on my second look through, right? Look at this. Okay, if this was just a triangle pattern, there wouldn't be an eye in the middle, right? Right? If it was just a triangle pattern, there wouldn't be an eye in the middle. Okay. They got that stair. All the friends and family have their personality controlled, and they are marked slaves. And everyone who can do anything about it is too focused on themselves. Okay, so you have to wake up. Right? And this is how SpongeBob reacts, and this is a very fair way to react at first, right? When you don't know all the details, right? But SpongeBob says, I believe everyone I know is a goner. And I think, I reacted like this too. Right? It's impossible not to. Right? Like, you see this in real life, and it's just sad. This right here is just... I don't even know. I just pulled it because I thought it was crazy. Second Brotherhood of Death mark. Right? This right here, I'm not counting this as the Brotherhood of Death mark because it doesn't have the skull in the middle, okay? It doesn't look like this, okay? All these other skulls specifically don't look like this one if you look through all the skulls, okay? And I'm telling you this for a reason. When the ego triangle is broken, you will latch onto any idea to give your mind understanding. This is how the algorithm abuses you, right? Because it can give you information, show you how stupid you are for believing it, and then that breaks you, right? Then they can give you a false awakening, and they just repeat this cycle over and over and over, right? They jump off a cliff with the knowledge they receive. Okay, this is how the algorithm breaks you, right? They give you information, put full trust into it, and then when it's not true, it breaks you, and you don't trust yourself anymore. More blasphemous miracles in their own image. The monsters chant, now that they're men, we can't bother them. Now that they're men, they have become our friends. There'll be a happy end they'll pass the test and finish the quest for the crowd. But you can't really, it's a fast-paced chanting that you don't really pick up on, and this is a kid's movie, right? So it plays into your subconscious, right? Right, this is what I was talking about. Now an agent of the system is showing them their reality is false. Right, this represents the monarch, butterfly, fractured psyche, conditioning. And I just explained to you how it's in the algorithm, how it's in the media, and how the media shows you what's coming. Right? Yeah, he rips off their mustache. Everything you know is fake. This is actually what real power looks like. Oh, you know too much now. Right? So, you know, he says, oh, you know too much now, so you fully trust that, oh man, I really know too much now. But there's always a bigger boot at play, right? There's always a bigger boot at play. Boomers are this type of ignorance, okay? I'm gonna tell you a quick story. I was at the Denver airport with my dad, and they have those, like, those pretty much escalators on the floor that make you walk faster, right? And he was staring at his phone, right? I stepped off the floor escalator, right? He was staring at his phone. He was so locked into his phone, he just let the floor escalator knock him over, right? So he's staring at his phone, zero survival instinct, and doesn't step off the escalator, and fucking falls over, right? And I asked him, like, why did you do that? And he said, oh, I thought someone was pushing me with a cart, right? So he thought that it was someone else, right? So it didn't even trigger to him to have survival instincts because he thought someone else was doing something to him, and he was being ignorant so he could be mad about it. I hope I explained that well, but this is what boomers do, right? Like, he stared at his phone and let himself get knocked over and didn't react much because in his subconscious thought someone was pushing him over, and he wanted to get that dominance high and have like a big glorious fall. Okay, that's the type of ignorance on ignorance the boomers are in. Okay, it's an ignorance trance, if you will. Okay, truth gets them killed, but the supernatural saves them. The average person doesn't believe in God, so they are programmed into truth equals death and destruction. That is a very basic idea, right? They die. So the 7, I think they're just mocking the number 7 again, right? Because, right, the number 7 appears, right? And then they start chanting the Goofy Goober ritual song to the Goofy Goober god of this world, right? And that's what this tier is, okay? And then frame control, the emotion again, then the parrot. Oh yeah, frame control, pirates to amplify the audience praise for the goofy god miracle, right? Because then the parrot says, shut up and look at the screen. And the tier goes down and, you know, pretty much saves them, right? So that was frame control to get the audience to praise a digital miracle. It was frame control to get the audience to praise their own satanic miracles, and I think this is also symbolic of them being reborn again, right? Because every caterpillar goes through a moment of complete disillusion, and then they're born again, right? And they're all happy, more frame control. Sins catch up to him. Okay, this is probably one of the most disturbing scenes you're gonna see in this movie. Okay, watch the programming and mind control take place. Okay, remember how we talked about dissociative eyes versus thinking eyes? This is why we did that, okay? Watch this, right? SpongeBob says, "Where is the bag of winds?" Patrick says, right here. He acknowledges it. Notice the smug face. We're coming back to this smug face, okay? Right? And now he's looking at him. But Patrick says what? And fucking memory holes SpongeBob, right? Has that ever happened to you? Because I know that's happened to me, okay? Where when I used to be in really heavy, scrolling usage, I could be having a conversation with someone who also, scrolls a lot. And if one of us would say, what? It would literally memory hole the conversation. If any of us tried to think about what we just talked about, it would be memory hold. Okay? I'm telling you, this happens in real life. Okay? Because I've watched it happen. Okay? Alright? They put a giant bag in Patrick's ass. And Patrick says what? And SpongeBob does not have the thinking space to think about what just happened or even what he said, so he moves forward. I used to do this all the time, and now most people can't even remember what they just spoke about, right? Now get ready for this, right? He memory holds SpongeBob. Look at the eye difference, right? Memory hold, dissociation eyes. Watch this. This really irks me the wrong way, because they're not hiding it, right? So smug about it, right? They can put things in the characters' asses and get you to completely ignore it, okay? And then the people who do look at it, they just go, oh yeah, it's just advanced humor, it's adult humor. No, this is something much deeper, right? You can go ahead and read this. I'm not going to read all this, right? But they put it in your face, okay? They put it in your face. They don't care to hide it. Okay, they don't need to hide it if they can program you to defend it, right? The word magic appears after that scene. I mean, if that wasn't one of the most disturbing scenes you have ever seen in a kids show, I don't know what is, dude. It probably is much more, not gonna lie. I'm very dramatic sometimes, alright? Forgive me. Yeah, complete ignorance again. It's almost like Patrick is a sleeper agent, right? There is many close-ups of this guy's chest and pecs. SpongeBob is praising the actors. Also, this is a kids movie, and there is, I'm sure this Satan pedophile is happy that there's close-ups of his entire anatomy being shown to kids. Okay, I'm sure he's very happy that he got this role in this movie. Okay, that's how I think about these things. Another blasphemous. Yeah. Another blasphemous miracle. Right? Because love and compassion saves them. Stalls Mr. Krabs just long enough for them to be saved. Right? Okay, this next part is about to be the most eye-opening part and probably disturbing part of this whole sequence. I know I said the other scene was the most disturbing part. I still do stand by that, but the implications of this one are really disturbing, right? I'm just a kid. I'm not just a kid. I'm a goofy goober, right? He breaks out into song and dance, right? Aliens or demons. Fake Earth. This is telling kids to release their temptations and desires, okay? Do you want to know what the very next scene is? You ready? A man in woman's clothing, and wouldn't you know? They know exactly what they're doing, and they can just put it right in your face, right? This is how SpongeBob reacts to Patrick dancing, okay? SpongeBob reaction trains kids to value sugar and fake women, right? This kids nowadays, middle schoolers nowadays, high schoolers nowadays, elementary schoolers nowadays, they all have access to this stuff because of their parents, right? Telling kids to release their temptations and desires. Oh my gosh, man, it's just like, you know what I mean? If they can put this shit in front of your children, they can do it in the media too, dude. Like, seriously, think about it. Oh, whoa. Alright. So Plankton grabs the headset. We all start moving like puppets. Here comes the blasphemous, goofy goober rock and roll god. Did you or your siblings worship the goofy god in this moment? The only reason I say this is because I'm reflecting on how this movie made me act and feel as a child, right? Because this did make me feel good about the goofy goober god, right? Satanic hand signs, and just in case you think that this is a reach, right? Just in case you think that this and this is a reach, do you want to know what the very next scene is? Patrick's gonna let you know it's not, right? This ain't no coincidence, right? Yeah. So in conclusion, this movie is a sick, twisted fantasy about Plankton planting evidence and creating division, then making a mind-controlled apocalypse where goofy goober music is light and God that frees everyone. Okay, so many number twos, okay? This was released in 2000. They told you it was coming in 20. Okay, they told you. There's 2 skull and crossbones references, right? 2 of them. And then there's 2 666 references, right? The Illuminati, if this was a triangle pattern, there wouldn't be an eye in it, right? If it was just a triangle pattern, there wouldn't be an eye in it. Okay, there wouldn't be this parallel here with the generic smile, right? This is 2004. This is 2007. Right? Not even to mention the all-seeing algorithm annoying wife Karen AI. Right? This right here was a massive psychological operation to get you addicted into TikTok, to make you trust TikTok, and you did, because I know I did, right? This was because the signal, right? Signal popped up, stay at home, lock into the mind control, right? So many number twos, 2020, right? All of them are going to burn in the deepest pits of hell, and they know it, okay? That's why they're trying to run, okay? They know it, okay? They know they're going to the deepest pits of hell, and they're gonna suffer more suffering than we can even comprehend on this plane, right? But whoso shall offend one of these little ones which believe in me, it were better for him that a millstone were hanged around his neck, and that he were drowned in the depths of the sea. Okay? Because the punishment for these people is going to be beyond our comprehension. Right? Okay. And one more thing. So I typed in 2004 SpongeBob movie, and I just clicked on one of the screenwriters. I just clicked on one of the writers, and I did 20 seconds of digging, okay? This is George, right? He made a lot of films that I'm sure if we'd looked into, these are predictive programming operations, okay? He graduated from Yale University. Same thing that founded Skull and Bones, right? And get this, he also had military service during World War II, okay? Right? And this is his nephew. Guess what movies his nephew made? Some of the most... what's the word? These are movies that only children are gonna watch, okay? And these are all... I'm sure these are all filled with predictive programming. But yeah, these are the people who sit in dark rooms and write predictive programming pcyops. This is one family I'm showing you. This took me 20 seconds of research, right? To uncover the military background, the Yale background, how he made predictive there's a 100% chance that at least one of these is predictive programming, if not all of them, right? I'm pretty sure all media is controlled, right? Yale, I don't even know what that means. That's probably some Freemason shit, not gonna lie. Yeah, but he made a lot of movies that indoctrinated your parents. He made a lot of movies that indoctrinated your kids, or he helped write. Okay, this is one writer and his uncle, right? But yeah. Okay, in conclusion, screens unleash widespread satanic alchemy. Okay, and the reason I'm making this video is because I'm asking you to step away from it, okay? Because you can't be awake with a phone in your pocket, okay? You just can't. It doesn't work that way, alright? I'm asking you to step away from the screen. I'm daring you to actually care about your life and connect with Christ and get away from the screen, okay? Because it's satanic alchemy, okay? Your friends and family are gone, right? Some of them you're never going to get back. Some of them are so far gone you're not going to get back, and that's just a hard truth, but we have to suffer to live, alright? That's how the world works. But yeah, for the love of Christ, please just get away from the screen.